Welcome to This Week Inside Sim Racing, January 14th edition, and our very first episode of 2012.
Yay!
I'm Jessica Lopez, and this is...
Sean Cole.
Sean Shimmy Cole.
Oh, man. So I could do that, and that would help, too.
No, that's going to make it worse, because now it's pointing towards me.
It was fine the way it was a second ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk.
Talk, talk, talk.
Okay.
Tickety talk.
This episode is sponsored by iRacing.com, and we have lots to cover, including an interview with Bob Earl, maker of the VRC Mark II racing chassis.
Don't leave out that he's a former race car driver, which is very exciting.
Very exciting. We have an interview with him, more on that later. We also have Simrig of the Week and lots of sim racing news from around the world. Starting with iRacing, they've just released their 11th episode of iRacing TV. And in it, they have an interview with IndyCar Premier Series winner Yang Wu. And they also spoke with Ray Alfalla, who won the 2011 NASCAR iRacing World Championship.
They also talked about a new car coming to iRacing, the Cadillac CTS-R, which I'm thrilled. Remember, I used to have a Cadillac.
You did.
I missed my car. Now I ride a bike. Anyway, they have that Cadillac coming to iRacing as well, and they talk about the Lotus 49, so a lot of development news there as well.
They also talk about other new features like driver swaps, new spotter functions, and the implementation of iRacing teams.
iRacing has also announced some awards from last year, and this is all done based on votes from their community or their members. And the first one is the Driver of the Year, and that went to none other than Ray Alfalla. Big surprise there. And that's with him winning the Oval Championship and top 15 on the road side of things as well.
Another one of the big categories was for the Member of the Year based on technical contributions to the game. That award went to Steve Luvender of Trading Paints fame. Trading Paints is a very easy to use paint job sharing site for iRacing members. Steve was quick to thank other members of his team in acceptance of the award.
And I gotta tell you, there were a lot of other members who were in the voting for those categories who were all deserving, so go to iRacing, you can check that out as well.
Next up, we have some news from Gran Turismo and the GT Academy Award winner, Brian Highcotter. And actually, right now, as we film this, he's running in the 24 hours at Dubai, and we were watching a little bit of that earlier.
That's right. You might remember Darren actually did an interview with him just a little while ago. We made him do the ISR challenge, and now we have Bob Earl who's going to do that challenge a little later today.
And for this Dubai event, Brian, along with all the other GT Academy Award winners, will all be driving the same car.
Which is kind of a new twist. Usually in the past, they've had a pro driver with the GT Academy winner, so now they're all doing it together. Another thing, when Darren did that interview, he actually ended up talking with Brian's mom and asked her what she thought about him going to Dubai for the event. And she said that she was really excited for him, obviously, and that he has been very well trained and ready for the event. Just wishes it was a little closer to home.
All right, well, if you guys like to see more of that race, you can head on over to 24hseries.com. We wish him and all of the other GT Academy Award winners best of luck.
Yeah, and we'll be watching it as well.
Yes, we will.
As soon as we're done here. Next up on the show comes to us from Sim Factory. We haven't talked about them in quite a while, and they've actually announced they're in the beta phase of the new Chevy Silverado truck that's coming to ARCA Sim Racing.
And coming along with this truck are some other improved enhancements for the sim. For those of you out there that already own ARCA, it will be free to download once it is available. And for those of you that decide on purchasing in the future, it will come with the truck.
Very cool. They've also talked about adding a nationwide car and a cup car to the sim as well. So a lot of new stuff coming to ARCA Sim Racing.
And speaking of new cars and add-ons and downloads, Forza 4 has a new car pack that is now available free to download, and it's the Hyundai Veloster Bonus Pack.
Which includes two drivable cars, the 2013 Hyundai Veloster Turbo and the 2011 Reese Millen Racing Hyundai Veloster.
And again, this DLC is available for free to all Forza 4 owners at their Xbox Live Marketplace.
And that takes us to the top story of today's show, and that's RFactor 2, the beta version of RFactor 2, and it is now out, and it's available for everybody to download and get in and try it out.
Yep, it sure is, and it also comes with the ability to mod, for those of you out there that like to do some modding. Comes with tracks like Spa and Monte Carlo, which are the old versions, and it comes with a new version of Sepang and more. It comes with the Megane, the Formula Renault, and some other 1966 Formula cars.
And the beta version will also include many of the final version features of the game, like single player, multiplayer, development mode, and many of the other development tools.
And if that's not enough, it'll also include features like rain, wet to dry transitions, dynamic elements, as well as new tire model and physics.
So this really is a pretty full version, and it's allowing some people to basically start playing it as they finalize certain aspects of the game. In order to use the beta version, you'll need to purchase a license for the game at $45 for 18 months during the beta phase, or for $85 for a lifetime membership. Either license option will allow for all updates to the sim as they become available.
Well, this is very exciting news, especially for those out there who have been eagerly awaiting to play RFactor 2 and asking us when is it coming out. So
Sure.
Get out there and get your license and start playing some RFactor 2. That's going to wrap things up for the first half of the show. Make sure you stick around. On the second half, we have Sean, who got an interview with former race car driver and maker of the VRC Mark II racing chassis, Bob Earl, and also put him on our little hot lap challenge.
Yeah, that's right. You don't come to the studio without doing the challenge now.
You sure don't. And in addition to that, we have Simrig of the Week and much, much more. Stick around after these messages.
Tamia's extensive lineup of radio-controlled vehicles provides hobbyists with the joy of running exact replicas of their favorite car, tank, or off-road vehicle. Another attraction of these vehicles is their use of high-grade materials, such as nylon resin, carbon fiber, and polycarbonate. With precise mechanical systems, the maintenance and adjustment of the various components, as well as performance upgrading with optional parts, allows for truly competitive racing. For more information about Tamia, visit us at www.tamiausa.com.
Welcome back to the show. We'd like to give a shout out to a league we thought you all ought to know about, and this is Sim Racing Nation. And you're looking at a video here of their historic Trans Am series, and they're a group of online racers, tuners, painters, and casual racers. They run a series called CASCAR using iRacing late model, as well as an F1 2011 series on the Xbox 360.
You know, I like the look of those old school cars. Darren and I used to run in a series running old cars like that. We're gonna have to get in on that one, I think.
Well, you will see. I would like to see you guys in on that.
Looks like a lot of fun. Anyway, go to simracingnation.com and you can check it out for yourself and join one of their leagues.
And that takes us to Simrig of the Week, which is sponsored by Tamia, makers of the finest models and RCs on the planet. Head to tamiausa.com. This Simrig comes to us from Petr Lisa of the Czech Republic. He's 32 years old and is an accomplished cyclist, go-karter, snowboarder, and sim racer. His rig is a real work of art and is a sim racer's dream.
Starting off with three 27-inch LCD Samsung Sync Masters, a Sim Projects RevBurner GI Max SPI-D, a Sim Screen, an ECCI 7000 steering wheel with pedals, a Derek Spear button box, a sequential shifter, an FIA GT style seat, a butt kicker gamer, headphones. I could go on and on about everything he has included in this rig.
And it's made up of a metal base, which he spray painted black. He's currently running in the iRacing Cup and the Mustang, so very cool rig.
It's one of my favorites we've ever shown on the show. All that stuff, and it's just tucked in. It looks good at the same time.
All right, well, we're gonna move on to the next topic, which I understand I missed another guest here in the studio.
You did, in fact.
And you got to interview him.
Yeah, I got the lucky pleasure of interviewing Bob Earl. Since you weren't here, I got to step in and do it.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
This was cool. Me and Bob actually both had time at Russell Racing School, so we had some stories behind the scenes, got to talk to him about being a race car driver, got to talk to him about the Mark II chassis and some of the improvements. Very good time.
So I understand he came to bring a monitor stand to the chassis that was already sent to us previously.
Right.
And you guys put him in the Hot Lap Challenge.
Yeah, you don't come here without. I mean, if you come to this studio, please do. Bring your equipment here so we can test it out, but while you're here, you're going to sit down and do the challenge.
All right, well, before we get to that, let's first take a look at your interview with him.
Okay.
All right, here it is.
Well, Bob, thank you very much for joining us in the studio today. Come down,
pleasure.
Bring in your rig here. And for those of you who don't know, Bob Earl is a former race car driver. you used to run back in the days of IMSA.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, yes.
And I learned something about you in your days in IMSA. You actually not only ran in every class of IMSA, but you kind of have a unique distinction in the IMSA days. What was that?
Yeah, myself and Elliot Forbes Robinson are the only two drivers, I think, to have won in all 4 IMSA classes in the Camel GT series in that day.
Right.
The GTU, GTO, Camel Lights, and GTP.
And you've been lucky enough to run in some of my all-time favorite cars, like the Nissan used to run in.
Yes.
I mean, I think most people who know that old red, white, and blue Nissan, that was just an amazing car.
Yes, it was. An amazing team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
So back in the day, you ran a lot of big events. Are there any that kind of stand out in your mind as being some of the best moments in racing for you?
Well, when we talked earlier about Sebring in 1990. When we won Sebring, I wasn't even supposed to run the race. That was exciting. But to be honest, to go back before those days, I won the Grand Prix of Macau in 1981. And that was a big deal for me because I was grassroots and went over there, and I've been there once before and managed to win the race for Hayashi Motors. And that was a big deal. It was a great track, and it was a big win. But there's so many that I've had that I can't really remember a lot of them. 1973 winning the National Formula 4 Championship was a big deal.
Right.
But then later on with Nissan, it was more the people you're with than what you're winning. I didn't even run any races in 1992, but I was testing all the cars, and I just had a great time.
Right, and like you said, being involved in it and being around all the people, it's just sort of
the camaraderie is something that you really learn to live with. It's your family.
Right. Yeah. Now, you won Macau. Like, hasn't every great driver in the history of the world pretty much won that at some point in their career?
A lot of them. Alan Jones was one guy that I actually got to know a little bit because he was running Formula One when I was running Formula Atlantic.
Right.
And he always said Macau was one race he never got to win.
Right.
And I said, well, you got to come over and try it again, But yeah, a lot of guys have won it. And to be honest, though, I ran it in the Formula Atlantic days. It was called Formula Pacific because the wing was further forward. But it's the same cars. And then they changed to Formula 3 in 1983.
Okay.
And that's when the Schumachers, the Sennas, and everything showed up. I do have a story I'll tell you later about Senna, but I raced him in 1983. And I was always taught to be smooth and all this, and the other drivers told us to be really rough. Thackwell and Johansson said, you got to toss the car. It's a Formula 3 car. It has a lot of grip, no power.
Right.
So I said, Carol, I want to be in front of the next session. I want to go out first and let this guy pass me. This guy, Da Silva was his name. And I want to see what he's doing. So we go out in the session, I came in the pits, and Carol said, I'll never forget what you said. I got good news, I got bad news. The good news is I'm doing it right. That guy is smooth as silk. The bad news is I can't beat that SOB. Who is that guy? And it was Senna. But he wasn't running under the name Senna because it was a middle name. He didn't want his parents to know whatever was going on.
Right.
And then we found out later he was Ayrton Senna. So I didn't feel so bad finishing 4th to him.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, 3rd or 4th. But it was an interesting story to go back to that day, that was a high point in my life.
I can imagine.
To think later that he became who he was. And I was on the track watching him behind him.
Sure.
Every corner he'd pull a foot, and he'd go, how did he do that?
But you were right there.
Right there, yeah. It was cool. Yeah.
So, okay, so now, the thing for me, I like endurance racing. You've had the privilege of running in the 24-hour at Daytona 6 times, I believe.
6 or, I can't lost count, 6 or 7, yeah.
And you actually won your class 2 different times.
Yeah, 1987 Camel Lights and 1989 with Roush and the Cougar.
And what's that like? I mean, after 24 hours of racing, are you allowed to, like, really be excited? Does your adrenaline from being excited overpower the energy you've lost in the race? What's it like winning a
Well, actually, in 1987, I wasn't there. I was still working at the school at Bondurant's, and I had to fly home before the race was over. So I wasn't there for the victory celebration.
Are you kidding me?
No, I wasn't there. I had to leave an hour before the race was over. We didn't think the car would finish. So we all had tickets to leave, and I had to go. But anyway, in 1989, I was actually so tired because Pete Halsmer and I ran most of the race together. And I was so tired. I said, this is great, but I got to go to bed. But yeah, you get excited for a while, but you've been up for 40 hours basically, and you can't really get too excited. But the crew, I was very happy for them because when you drove for Roush in those days, you're supposed to win because the car's going to finish.
That's the standard.
Yeah, and it happened. So yeah, it's good.
So after a long and very exciting racing career, you moved on to many things. Anti-terrorism, anti-kidnapping.
Oh, that was at the Bondurant school. Yeah, we used to teach those classes at Bondurant's. They were interesting because most of the students that show up want to have fun. You tell them jokes, they laugh.
Right.
But these guys were hired by their people to come and say, I don't want to be kidnapped, so you're going to learn how to evade these guys. And you tell a joke and they don't laugh.
Oh my.
I sit there and go, oh, these guys are serious. These aren't here to have fun. It was their job to be there. And but that was back in the 80s.
Right.
But it was neat to be a part of it. We also taught a lot of stunt car drivers.
Very cool
for the Hollywood
stuff.
Yeah.
And that all led to the VRC Mark II chassis?
Basically, when the games started coming out, I moved back to California from Las Vegas, running Derek Daly Academy in Las Vegas in 2000, and I was coaching, and then I said I got into the game a little bit, and I built my own rig out of wood, just like you guys did, and I said, this is really uncomfortable. So I said, I went to Hufker, I said, let's make one, and we made one, and they said, why don't you sell these? I said, yeah, I need another problem, you know. But anyway, it just evolved into this over the years.
Right.
It's been fun, because the customers are always having fun.
Sure.
You know, it's not like being a dentist, you know. They call you when they're excited, you know.
Yeah, they only call you for a good reason.
Yeah, they want to see you, they want to talk to you,
How long ago was that you started making the rigs?
Late 2001, I got the idea. 2002, I started making them. Yeah.
And had you been sim racing for a while before that?
No.
Or all kind of
only because of my son. He was doing this, you know, with the little thing. And I couldn't keep the car straight.
Right.
So I had to get a wheel to keep up with my kid. So anyway, and I was very uncomfortable on the couch. So I said, I got to build a seat. I can't do this. So that's how it started.
And that's how it all came along. And you've made some refinements. Now, we actually reviewed your rig a while ago, but this is way back in the days of the thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't think we even knew what we were doing. We're really excited to get your rig in here. There have been a few changes since the one we tested. What would you say is the biggest difference between the two now?
The biggest difference is the seat. Okay. Because there are a lot of guys that couldn't fit my seat. It was, I mean, it was a bucket seat out of a Baja Bug, and the guys that actually in Boulder used to make them, for dune buggies. So anyway, I just said I got to have this. I got to open my customer base. So this seat is like a car seat. It's like a Recaro or whatever, Sparkle, whatever, and it's just made a little bigger, a little wider, a little softer. Because a lot of the car seats I sat in, if you're playing a game and the car's not moving, you don't need any circulation. Right. And my feet were falling asleep. Okay. So I said, I got to have a softer seat because you're not getting this motion, you're getting thrown around in the car. Right. There's no blood flow, especially at my age. So anyway, I just said, I got to change the seat. So we found a good seat maker, and that's the main improvement. The other one is the pedal plate is much larger now, so it fits the Club Sports and some other pedals that the other plate was too small for.
I also noticed you went to a second knob on the adjuster point there, which kind of looks like it's going to stiffen it up quite a bit.
Well, the steering post was okay before. It did wobble a little bit. All of them wobble a little bit. But I had to move the platform up 2 inches because the front of the seat's higher now. Right. So with that extra leverage, I had to make sure it wasn't going to move. And so we just added another knob, and it seems a lot better. Okay. Yeah.
Now, I'm glad you brought the rig down. Once we get somebody in the studio here, for us, we have this new ISR challenge. And we like to put people out on the track just to see how they do. Yeah. You up for doing the challenge?
Yes, definitely.
All right, well, let's get you all set up. Always up for a challenge.
Race driver.
You're going to get 3 laps. We'll see how you do, and let's check that out.
Cool. Sounds like fun.
So Bob Earl getting ready to get underway on his 3rd and final lap. Launched from pit lane and out onto the banking of Pocono. He's underway. Setting up for turn 1, full throttle, carrying lots of speed. With a touch of a brake just to set the car for turn 2. He kisses the apex, uses up all the track going wide, off track just a little bit. Very fast through there though. Heading into the left-hander, heavy on the brakes, slowing it down. Again, he gets down to the apex, looks very smooth through there as well. Very fast through there. Coming into the next right-hander. Little wide, and he touches the apex once again, using up all the road, looking good. Into the full throttle left-hander, setting him up for the back stretch, carrying a lot of speed through there. Setting up for Shabami, touches the brakes, a little wiggle from the car. He pushes wide, but looking good through there as well as he's back onto the banking of Pocono into turn 3. And coming in towards the final stretch is Bob Earl. And he crosses the line with a 101.977. All right, so not a bad effort there. We all saw how you did. How do you think you stacked up against everybody else there?
I don't really know. I know that I could have gone quicker. If obviously with more time, you always want to clean things up. But felt a little sloppy. But hey, it was good. It was a good try.
It was actually a really, really good try. We haven't had a ton of people yet. You actually got a 101.977, which is the 2nd fastest time we've had yet.
Good.
So you did very well, and we're very impressed. It was a great time having you in the studio. We talked a lot off camera, and it was a great time hearing some of your stories. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought the Mark II rig down, and we're looking forward to that review coming up soon.
Good.
So thank you
Thanks.
very much, Bob.
You're welcome.
Good
Thank
job
you.
on the ISR challenge, and we look forward to that review coming up.
Okay.
Man, Bob Earl's got it going on. I mean, former race car driver, and he came in at number 2. Well, that puts him at number 2 on our Hot Lap challenge. So.
Yeah, not just number 2, but that was a really good time. I got to tell you, he came in and he just took the methodical approach, a little faster each lap. Each lap he got faster, and we let everyone take 3 laps to do their run. He's the only person who has not looped it on their 3rd lap. So he actually made his fast lap on the 3rd lap. So very impressive run by him.
Well, thanks for coming by the studio, Bob Earl, and hopefully I'll get to meet you one of these days. Sorry I wasn't here upon your appearance. I guess that's going to wrap it up for this week Inside Sim Racing, and we hope that you've enjoyed this January 14th edition. We have lots of new shows coming up, including our look at Auto Club Revolution, our review of Mad Cat's force feedback wireless racing wheel for the Xbox 360,
and a couple of new Simrig reviews that we got going on. We've got the Grandstand and the VRC that we've been talking about all show, so we got those reviews coming. And beyond that, get over to our site, become a member, get into our forum, be involved, be a subscriber at our YouTube channel.
And thanks for all the wonderful comments on YouTube. Speaking of which, we do read those, and I certainly enjoy reading what people have to say. So keep on commenting. Like Sean said, become a member of our website. And until next time, I guess that's going to wrap up our very first episode for 2012.
Off and running.
I'm Jessica Lopez and Sean Shimmy Cole.
I'll do it again.
Checkered flag is out, and so are we. Oh my gosh. Instead of X marks the spot, Pepe marks the spot.
Pepper?
Woo, Pepe! Hi!
Our mascot.
Watch him go on the back. Watch, watch, watch. There he goes.
Oh, Pepper.
Oh!
You don't need to do it again. I don't hear it all now. I heard that.
Sorry. I forgot what we're...
They also talk about, blah, blah, blah. All right. Nothing like a good laugh. It reminds me of that shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy.
All that craziness.
This week's Simrig comes to us from Petter Lisa of the Czech Republic. He is 32 years old.
Sex Republic?
Sex Republic?
So curious to know what it looks like. No, but it's so far away.